So let's talk about a pretty wild idea, a living clock. We're digging into a research proposal that asks this really fundamental question. Can the messy, rhythmic pulse of life itself actually compete with the cold, hard precision of an atomic clock?
I mean, think about it. Our entire modern world, from your phone's GPS to global financial markets, runs on clocks that are so accurate they won't lose a second in billions of years. But that incredible perfection, it comes at a cost. It traps our very best timekeepers inside super-controlled, crazy expensive labs.
So, yeah, let's start right there with this core problem, this fundamental trade-off that's kind of holding back the next wave of technology. Okay, so on one side of the ring, you've got atomic clocks. They are the undisputed champions of timekeeping. I mean, their stability is just mind-boggling. But on the other side, they're these incredibly delicate giants. They need vacuums, lasers, cryogenic temperatures, the whole shebang. You're not exactly strapping one to a drone or dropping it in the middle of the ocean. They're just completely impractical for the real world. And this is where the whole idea flips on its head. The researchers are basically asking, hey, what if we stop fighting nature with all this complicated hardware and just use it? Can we actually harness the combined rhythms of microbes to make a clock that's good enough for really demanding jobs, but without the lab, without the massive cost, and without all that complexity? So, the big question is, how on earth could you build a clock from biology? Well, it all comes down to tapping into these hidden rhythms that are literally happening all around us and inside us all the time. This really is the philosophical leap at the heart of the idea, isn't it? It's about moving away from the brute force physics of isolating atoms and moving toward the elegant, self-organizing chemistry of life itself.
So how do you get stability from something that seems as chaotic as biology? Well, the secret sauce here is layering different rhythms, kind of like instruments in a symphony. You combine the super fast, high-frequency beat of metabolism with the medium-tempo chatter of cells communicating with each other, and then you lay that over the slow, steady, super reliable 24-hour circadian rhythm. It's this fusion of signals that promises to give you a stable, consistent output. And here's a wild thought. Because it's alive, this little symphony doesn't just keep time, it responds to its environment. We'll definitely come back to that.
Okay, so that's the what. Now for the how. How do you actually build a device that can listen to this biological symphony and turn it into a precise tick-tock? And this is just a brilliant way to picture the architecture. First, you have the orchestra, 3 different kinds of engineered microbes, each one playing its own rhythm. Second, you need a high-tech microphone, a sensing patch that can actually read their fluorescent and electrical signals. And finally, the conductor, a smart algorithm that listens to all 3 rhythms at once and intelligently blends them into a single, super stable digital beat. Of course, this all sounds great in theory, maybe a little like science fiction. But reality check time. How would it actually stack up against the technology we have right now? And this table just lays it all out perfectly. Up top, you've got the heavyweights, the optical and atomic clocks. Their stability is off the charts, but so are their cost and power needs. And no, you can't take them outside. Down at the bottom, you have your standard quartz clocks. They're deployable, sure, but way less stable. Now look at where the microbiome clock fits. It isn't trying to beat the champions at their own game. No, it's creating a whole new category right in the middle, offering incredible stability, but for a tiny fraction of the cost and power, in a package you can take literally anywhere. Let's just zero in on that target number, 10 to the minus 15. The goal isn't to beat a multi-million-dollar optical clock. The goal is to be dramatically better than the portable clocks we have now, creating a whole new tool for a whole new set of problems. And this isn't just wishful thinking. They've run the numbers. The simulations show that a single strain of bacteria, it's pretty noisy. But when you combine 3 different strains, the stability gets a lot better. But the real magic, the real leap, happens when you couple them and add that smart conductor algorithm. Boom. The performance gets tantalizingly close to their early goals. So, let's say they pull this off. What does that future actually look like? What does a world with tiny, living, self-repairing clocks actually unlock?
The advantages are just profound. Imagine a clock that sips microwatts of power instead of guzzling kilowatts. A clock that can literally heal itself if it gets damaged. A clock you can put in the harshest, most remote place you can think of and just let it run.
This just opens up a whole new world of things we can do.
We're talking about sensor networks deep in the Amazon or at the bottom of the ocean, all perfectly synced up without needing GPS. We're talking about swarms of autonomous drones navigating through a complex canyon, keeping perfect time with each other long after they've lost any satellite signal. This is the exact kind of robust, off-the-grid timing that our current tech just can't deliver.
And what's really crucial here is that this isn't just some sci-fi dream. The researchers have laid out a clear, step-by-step roadmap with a series of milestones, which you can see right here. Each stage builds on the last one, pushing from a simple single-strain oscillator all the way to a field-ready prototype. This is how a really radical idea becomes a reality.
Okay, remember that little hint I dropped earlier about this living clock responding to its environment? Well, this is where it gets really, really cool. Because it's alive, it is inherently sensitive. A tiny change in temperature or pH, or even the presence of a toxin, will cause its delicate rhythm to shift just a little. So the noise that physicists work so hard to get rid of, it isn't a bug here, it's a feature. You don't just get a clock, you get a built-in biosensor. 2 revolutionary devices in one living package.
And that brings us to the final, really provocative thought. This whole idea of a microbiome clock challenges us to think differently. It suggests a future where our most advanced tools aren't just assembled from silicon and metal, but are coaxed into existence from life itself. A future that might not just be built, but grown.